Do you regret your vote right now?
Well, between him and her, I thought he was the better choice, but honestly, I miss my Uncle Joe.
Oh! 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 Oh my God, I'm nutting! Oh! Uncontrollable coming! Oh shit! Oh fuck!
The nobody, and I was balling then. Now, I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't even show you $5 in my pocket.
He said, I miss Uncle Joe. Oh no! Oh no, that's so bad.
Trump voters here in Florida who are ticked off about the fact that the gas prices in the state have gone up by an average of about 60 cents within just a week.
I would just wish he'd keep up on his campaign promise and say he was going to put it under $3. He'd end that war so fast.
Amerifats are so funny, dude. That's it. The only thing they know about is their wallets hurting. That's it.
But here it is, 5 years later, helping his buddy out get his more money, and then never mind charging us Americans all sorts of money for fuel that you just stole from Venezuela.
And those gas prices are getting higher because of volatile oil prices due to the war in Iran, a war that these Trump voters tell us they hope wraps up quickly.
If I could, speak to the president, I'd just encourage him to finish up this war and get us.
Sir, Mr. President, please pack it up. Please pack it up, please. I need people to explain to me, like, whether you're an Atlanticist, whether you're a fucking neocon, I need one person who's not a psychopathic evangelical Christian Zionist to explain to me one military objective that has been accomplished here. One single W in the last 12 fucking days, please. Because every single person that's come in here to defend this has just been like, they have the brain of a 12-year-old. Like they'll just be like, oh, dude, like, you don't get it, man. This is gonna be, it's gonna be fine in the end. You know, it's fucking sick. Like, one thing, show me one thing, please. Like, the greatest W that you can put on the board is that we killed an 87-year-old man who probably had cancer. That's what we did. We martyred an 87-year-old man who could have died of a heart attack if we waited a fucking week. That's the fucking W. And that didn't even accomplish the objective of destabilizing and crippling the fucking state. It literally hardened the population support. Because in the process of killing the 87-year-old man, we blew up a fucking school with 150 schoolgirls that we killed between the ages of 7 and 12. Then Israel blew up their Iranian oil capabilities and engaged in chemical warfare in a city with 10 million people. In one of the hubs of resistance against the IRGC and against the Ayatollah, causing everyone to go, okay, well, they're engaging in chemical warfare against us. Turns out they don't want to fucking liberate us. All the while, the Strait of Hormuz is closed and tens of billions of American military assets have been destroyed. Israel's defense capabilities diminished in the process. Our defense capabilities have withered away in the process, so much so that we had to pull our THAAD missile systems from South Korea, not only showing the Gulf allies who are responsible for trillions of dollars of investment on U.S. soil to feel like an American security contract just makes you a missile sponge for Israel. And now South Korea is realizing that we won't even defend them. There's not a single fucking W that you can lean into in this situation. Not a single one. This is basically the dream of anti-imperialists to showcase how unnecessary all this fucking warfare is. It's worse than I ever could have imagined. I warned about some of these things happening. I warned about some of these things happening, right, ahead of time, but I could not have foreseen how fast everything would fucking collapse. I personally thought we at least had enough defensive capabilities to defend radar installations in our own fucking military bases. This is the empire falling. It's falling. It's over. My voice is cracking. These are the weeks where decades happen.
Back to a safe world.
He's saying about for our safety, leave somebody alone, they won't bother you.
Hopefully this conflict over there will end, you know, it's just unfortunate.
The overall vibe here at the gas pump amongst these Trump voters is they feel like the economy is not going well right now.
At the moment, I'm really out of work.
My hope is that it's temporary and it doesn't last for too long, and oil prices come back down. That's my hope.
We are live in.
Aside from the obvious other shit that makes Trump the worst president in history, are we thinking this whole thing will make him even worse than Jimmy Carter in the eyes of normies and historians? Everyone points and laughs at Carter, but this is just a whole new level of fucked. Honestly, Trump might literally be the fucking best American president because he just ends the American empire. He might be, for the rest of the world, the greatest American president. Hashtag war update, things are going well. Chinooks over Iraq conducting SAR. Bloomberg, Iran's missile launcher arsenal holds steady despite strikes. CBS, today, 19 military personnel were evacuated from Saudi Arabia to Germany after being injured in Iranian attacks. Wait, is this the no? Oh, that's the that's the medevac, right? Iranian Revolutionary Guard says the aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln suffered significant damage after being targeted with missiles and drones. The U.S. aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln is now withdrawing towards America after being targeted. I don't know how valid this is. Asmongold would shoot down those medevacs based on his standards. Yeah. Those are Chinooks. They're doing search and rescue. A Reuters visual investigation raises questions about how U.S. military could have missed a documented years-long online presence for the girls' school that was bombed in Iran. This includes dozens of photos of the children and their activities. The U.S. investigation is still ongoing. Yeah, that's the other side, where our own internal investigation is cooking. It's over. You have to retreat. You have to fucking retreat. Now, they're trying to present this as a fucking accident. And as far as like tactics goes, it must be, because otherwise you're a fucking idiot. Like you were so bloodthirsty, you blew up a fucking school without a second care. And I do believe that. I believe that it was most likely AI. That carelessness and the utilization of AI in the targeting is possibly the reason for why we did this. Because it goes directly against the military goals that these guys have. But it doesn't matter whether it's a mistake or deliberate. It doesn't fucking matter, because the results are still the same. We murdered little girls going to school, and then we struck back when their parents were trying to fucking, dust off the rubble. Yeah, also winning. Once again, winning so fucking hard. Nearly 1 trillion wiped out from the U.S. stock market today. So they're not even winning on their own. They're not even winning by their own fucking metrics of success, because this is the only thing that they care about. Lost radars, abandoned South Korea, retreated to Lincoln, needed air from Ukraine, tacoed on Russian sanctions, straight held hostage, redeploying the Ford, unretiring Nimitz, tomahawk schoolgirls, MAGA talking heads now splintering ahead of the midterms, winning the fuck out of the special military operation. This is unironically more catastrophic than the fucking land invasion that Vladimir Putin envisioned. Okay? The Chinese position towards the wars in Ukraine and Iran is comparable to the U.S. during the early stages of World War II. They are simply watching their competitors exhaust their resources fighting and even encouraging the process along a bit, but have no impetus to jump in even later in the process. At some point, when enough has been spent and the power differential expands, they will simply act in East Asia, which is their interest. This is how the U.S. became a global superpower on top of the ruins of a spent Europe a century earlier. Yeah. That's it. America's proximity to the conflict is the reason why it became the domineering superpower in the aftermath of World War II. Now Chinese proximity will allow China to do the same. Only W is I haven't seen JD Vance speak for the past 2 weeks. Yeah, he's been awfully quiet. You notice that shit? Like, the greatest thing that we could do in this circumstance, which is not going to happen, is a complete retreat, okay? That's my assessment, at least. Decoupling from Israel, a complete retreat, and charting a new path forward with diplomacy, okay? Especially for the time being when China has an appetite for such things. I'm not saying that China won't have an appetite for this in the future, but it's very obvious that for the time being, China does have an appetite for such things. I said American imperialism is a paper tiger, and now the whole world knows. We must retreat from endless military incursions, focus on diplomacy while rebuilding our country, and allow nations in the periphery to have dignity and sovereignty immediately.
Citizens of Israel, my brothers and sisters, we are in historic days, days that will be written in the annals of Israel. In Operation Roaring Lion, our roar is growing and intensifying. We are pummeling the Islamic regime in Tehran. We are pummeling its emissaries,
Suicide cult.
Hezbollah in Lebanon. There's unprecedented coordination between Israel and the U.S. and achieved substantial achievements that are changing the reality in the West Bank, in the Middle East and beyond. These achievements are increasing the status of Israel as a superpower more than ever. Through our power in opposition to the power of our enemies, this is what is ensuring our survival. Our threats come and go, but when we become a regional superpower, and in many respects a global superpower, we have the power to push away threats and ensure our future.
Hassan's favorite guy? Benjamin Netanyahu's my favorite guy? When more people are gambling, it means they've lost faith. Younger people should be protected. Well, guys, at least Benjamin Netanyahu feels like a superpower, you know? That's good, right? Mission succeeded. Mission accomplished, right? Not sure if you saw this, but this was a really good statement. Yeah, I did. Before AI, we'd blame a low-level drone operator when we bomb a school, a wedding, a hospital. Now we can blame a computer instead. The blame lies where it always did. With the president, with his generals, with the people who prosecute wars of choice that slaughter innocents. He's good, man. He's really fucking good.
Oil prices.
How is it possible that when I watch Asmin stream is so different? And why doesn't he want to debate you? Because he's living in an alternative reality. And his primary purpose is to just do propaganda for MAGA. Is to do propaganda for the Trump administration, right? My primary purpose is to explain to you exactly what's fucking going on and cut through the noise and cut through the lies. That's it. And the reason why he doesn't want to talk to me is because if he were to have a conversation, with me, his audience would very quickly recognize that he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. So he's terrified of the prospect of being humiliated. That's it. He has tremendous anxiety. And he copes and masquerades as though he's actually coming at it from a position of power. Oh, I'll just farm you. I'll just keep farming you. But the reality is, he's just fucking terrified. I really want to see that one day. Is that why you won't debate anyone smaller and smarter than you? I debate people that are smaller than me all the time. I debate people that are quote unquote smarter by your standards, I assume, as well. Not easy dunks. Aw, does it feel bad when the dunks are too easy? Is that what it is? So what you want is someone who can actually destroy me in the marketplace of ideas. That's what it is. Not easy dunks. My rear end hurts from the impact. Yeah. Lol, you got owned by Charlie Kirk in the debate. Really? How'd that work out, chatter, for you and your movement? Did that work out well?
Is shot back up to over $100 a barrel overnight as Iran focuses more of its attacks on fuel, tankers, fuel depots, infrastructure across the region. Just take a look at this video from Bahrain. This morning, the International Energy Agency is sounding new alarms, saying that the war in the Middle East is causing the, quote, largest supply disruption in the history of the global oil market. Main reason: oil has been stuck in the Middle East for more than a week because of, right there, what you're looking at, the Strait of Hormuz. The IEA says the flow of crude and oil products through the Strait of Hormuz has reduced to a trickle. Now President Trump is trying to blunt the impacts of this, authorizing the release of 172 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. That's part of a broader release of a record 400 million barrels agreed to by the 32-nation International Energy Agency.
CNN business executive editor David Goldman is here with us now. You wrote that the IEA releasing 400 million barrels of oil is like smashing the brake in case of emergency glass. But what will it mean? Is that enough to sort of make things easier for people and businesses, or is it just a drop in the bucket, so to speak?
Well, it's clearly not having an impact right now. I mean, what John was just saying is so key. The only thing that the oil market cares about is getting the Strait of Hormuz back open. This was an extraordinary release of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, and it didn't have an impact at all on oil prices. The fact that we went back above $100 last night kind of tells you everything you need to know. It's just not going to help unless we get that strait back open.
I'm curious how long, if this goes on for a few more weeks or months, how long before there's a breaking point where it's very hard to go back? It takes a long time for supply chains to recover, as we saw when it came to COVID.
Yeah, duration is key here, because the longer this goes on, the more pain for you and me. It's not just that we're filling our tanks at $3.60 today. That could go to $4, but truckers are filling their trucks with diesel, which is closing in on $5, and all the stuff that's on those trucks is going to be more expensive for you and me. The businesses that are loading stuff onto
Iran is also Iran is not just like destroying America's refueling capabilities. It seems Iran is destroying American refueling capabilities in Iraq as well, seemingly by targeting stratotankers, the aerial refueling planes, one of which actually went down in Iraq. The other one was able to land and do an emergency landing in Israel. So ain't nobody is refueling, both in the air and on the ground, nowhere.
trucks. That costs more money for them, and they're paying all these tariff costs. Do you think that they're going to eat the cost of the fuel surcharges? I don't think so. Those are costs that you and I are going to pay too.
Ultimately, how high do you think this is going? We're now, when it hits above 100 a barrel, we all feel it. Where do you see this going if this continues to be blocked?
Well, there is other oil in the world. I mean, we're a huge producer of oil in the United States, the largest in the world, actually. And so there's a point at which, you know, you can't make oil more expensive and people will continue to pay for it. Everyone seems to think that $150 a barrel is the peak for this if the strait is just permanently closed. So, you know, that's $5 gas, that's maybe $5.50 gas. So, you know, you have to wonder how much longer this is going to go and if we're going to get to that point. But that's about how high this could go.
Yeah, if the average is
Iran is going after Israel's gas fields. IRGC General Majid Musawi says Israeli gas fields of Leviathan and Karish located in the Mediterranean have become targets. The thing is, they could actually fucking, well, they won't hit Turkey, but like the pipelines that flow from Azerbaijan to Israel cross through Turkey. And Turkey has the capacity to literally turn off Israel's energy literally today if they wanted to. That's number one. Number two, Israel is effectively a port nation. Most of its trade, most of its commerce comes from the ports, okay? The overwhelming majority of its trade is conducted at its ports. If Iran actually wanted to terrorize Israel and effectively destroy the Israeli economy, they would just target the fucking ports. I suspect that part of the reason why they have not, hit the ports as hard, obviously, the Houthis were capable of bankrupting not Haifa, but the Eilat port with their blockade last year or 2 years ago at this point. And the Hezbollah strikes have mostly focused on Haifa. And that is another capability up the escalation ladder for Iran. If Iran feels threatened, they always have more strike targets, specifically in Israel. Now that Israel has struck the Iranian energy grid, the IRGC is saying, we will strike back against your gas fields. Okay. How do you sit here, gang? If you actually are believing this, you're delusional. Hasan, stop Hasan, bruh. How do you just sit here and listen to Iran's lies like this? You make the point that you're coping, my boy. Bruh. Bruh, on God, okay? On God, I'm not the one who's coping between you and I. Okay? Okay, bruh? On God, that's a Fed? Oh, it's not. It's not. These are like, oh, God. Jesus Christ. One of your other rare L-Take gang, why would we not defend Taiwan? Bruh, no, it's not. Gang, Iran has hella mines still. What do you mean? Gang, that takes time. Yes, they do. My boy, you need to actually further dive into geopolitics, especially on military operations. You just make no sense on that, gang. No offense, though. Can I ask you a question? Why is it that the entire mainstream media has been objectively wrong every single day on whatever targets that the American military had and their outright failure to accomplish those targets? Why is it that, one, the Iranian regime has not been destabilized and is still very much intact? And two, why is Israel still eating missiles? If I'm coping, bruh, on God. Today, I'll be honest, for the last 12 days, we haven't seen this massive flow of copers and American military might dick riders. It's taken 12 days for people to come in and just start being like, why don't you go and fight for Iran with your pedophile Muslims, for example? Also, I do love that. Calling the Iranians pedophiles is pretty funny when, you know, we're currently conducting Operation Epstein Fury. But, you know, keep coping on that one. But it took 12 days, but finally they're here. You know, the bots are back. An air campaign, the media will not talk about successes. Also, an air campaign takes time, gang. Please stop calling me gang, okay? White boy from Naperville. You won't slide for Vaughn, ass motherfucker. Why is that frustrating for you? Because that's a white boy from Naperville that's LARPing. And it's very fucking annoying. I'm actually from Chicago. That's funny. Yeah, from Naperville, motherfucker. Bro, stop hating on Naperville. I will never stop hating on Naperville. Never. Stop behaving like a fucking cornball. You need to hear my voice, Goofy. Motherfucker, you're the goofy one. Stop focusing on the aesthetics and explain to me what you think. Oh, an air campaign takes time, gang. Explain to me when an air campaign has been able to successfully destabilize an entire country and remove its leadership from power, and why it hasn't happened yet. Gang. Oh. I thought after day 9, these motherfuckers would have stopped and been like, okay, maybe America's not doing great. You know, never mind. They're just doubling down on the copium. Tens of billions of dollars worth of satellites, SATCOMs, radars, early advanced warning systems destroyed. America can't even fucking protect its own bases, its own assets in the region. America can barely protect Israel from being struck by a country that has the economy the size of an American state. And you're over here being like, oh, dude, on God, it takes a while. Gulf War as could have removed Saddam off that alone. I know my shit, it can happen with Iran as well. That shit takes time. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? So you're saying we could have done it, but we didn't? Like, is that, and that somehow proves your point? I'm saying we can remove the regime with an air campaign. No, you can't. And that's precisely why you haven't. And that's why we won't. The only comparison that you could even come close to is Libya. And Libya had popular mobilization on the ground. Idiot. You cannot do a regime change without popular mobilization. You need forces on the ground. You're a fucking idiot. No military commander, no general will ever tell you that that's within our capability. That's not the case. You think it's going to happen in a few weeks. You don't know what's going on within the CIA. Oh my God, I remember. This is the guy. Oh my God, I just remembered. This is the guy who was like, oh, you think America doesn't have contingencies, bro? Oh my God, this was the guy. This was the guy where I was like, hey, have you noticed that like we had to literally pull our defense assets from South Korea? Do you feel like that's actually very cash money? Do you feel like we're actually capable of withstanding a war with fucking China? And he was like, dude, you think America doesn't know, bro? I'm sure they got some kind of contingency. Cattle. Yeah, here's what the fucking U.S. intelligence is saying right now. Hey, gang, this is what the CIA is saying right now. A classified report by the National Intelligence Council representing the collective wisdom of America's 18 intelligence agencies found that even a large-scale assault on Iran would be unlikely to oust its entrenched military and clerical establishment. The report outlines succession scenarios resulting from either a short or extended U.S. military campaign. In both cases, it concluded that the clerical and military establishment would respond by Khamenei's killing by following protocols designed to preserve the country's continuity of power. The report says the prospect of Iran's fragmented opposition taking control of the country is unlikely. Raising doubts that Trump's declared plan to clean out Iran's leadership structure and install a ruler of his choosing would not work. It's so funny, like literally all of the intelligence community is basically universally saying the same exact shit. And this guy's like, nah, dude, the CIA is actually holding off on using their secret weapon. They got magicians and fucking warlocks hidden inside of Langley. And they're going to come out and they're going to cast a fucking hex on the Muslim clerics. Those leaks come from other sides of the CIA. They leaked that to cause doubt, bro. Who listens to that? You're such a fucking idiot, dude. It's awesome. When most of your ops agree with you, this is what's left, lol. Yeah. No, gang. That's CIA, gang. That's other sides of the CIA, gang. The other sides of the CIA have the warlocks. They're ready to hex it. They're ready to hex the Iranian clerics, gang. On God. Shut the fuck up.
$5 or $5.50. In California, that means $7, $8. And we're starting to see some of those numbers creep up there in places like Los Angeles. Thank you so much, David. Really insightful. A lot of people worrying about this very particular issue that affects literally everybody in the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Happy to help.
Appreciate it.
Joining us right now is the Energy Secretary of the United States to talk about this. Chris Wright. Secretary, thank you for coming in. Does this announcement about the drawdown of SPRO and with the IEA...
Cattle gang. One of my favorite Trump-era GOP-based polling facts is that at the outset of the Ukraine war, Republicans were most likely demo to say that the U.S. wasn't providing enough aid. Their views only shifted when Trump said so. Yeah. Republican support for bombing Iran was 53%, Quinnipiac on 114, then shot up to 85 to 90% after Trump attacked Iran on 228. So there's a vague current of anti-war sentiment within the GOP, but the lesson is it's superficial and easily jettisoned whenever their cult leader goes neocon. Yep. Bro, it's so funny to think that America has like this air superiority that they are just hiding, that they haven't utilized yet. They haven't deployed. They just want the Gulf to be caught on fire. Okay? You don't understand, gang? They could open the strait right now, bro. My uncle is Pete Hegseth. And he told me, he's a little drunk on the phone, but he told me that they could open the fucking strait right now if they wanted to. They just don't want to do it yet. They want the buildup. They want the buildup. They want it to be... They want everyone to feel the hurt first. And then we come in with the cavalry, baby. What's going to happen if America gets desperate enough to try to fucking pull an oil tanker through the strait and gets evaporated? Will you come in here and apologize? Or will you move the goalpost to something different? To be like, nah, dude, that was an old fucking American naval asset. That's not even worthy. They wanted that to be a fucking bullet sponge. You know what I mean? Answer the question on why we're bombing Tehran daily with no air superiority. You answered this question. What the fuck does Tehran have to do with Iranian strike capabilities? Do you think the missile stockpiles are inside of fucking Tehran? Is that inside of the schools? I will come in here and apologize if that happens. I will also come in here and laugh in your face if the regime falls. Oh.
Mean the problem is solved in your view?
Literally every single competent American administrator is ringing the alarm bells about how this has not gone down the way that they thought it would. And there are still dumb fuck Amerifats in my chat who are like, no, dude, they're just casting doubt on America's military might right now in this pivotal moment for no fucking reason. It's actually to undermine the confidence of our forces so that when we come back, it's going to be spectacular. What will it take for you to fucking recognize you're coping? There's no fertilizer. There's no gas or oil crossing the Strait of Hormuz unless it's going to China with Chinese flagged vessels. Why do you think America's not seizing the Chinese flagged vessels right now? Why?
Oh, no, this does not mean it's solved. The problem is Iran's behavior, Iran's military, Iran's threatening for American troops, their neighbors, energy markets for 47 years. But the disruption of oil...
Dog, he keeps going back and saying Iraq. Look, Hasan, it's war. Why do you not understand that? It happens when we invaded Iraq as well. People thought shit wasn't going well. The media was pushing it. You just not getting the shit, bruh. Bruh. Are you getting the shit? I think your brain has been reduced to shit, especially because Iraq was not a fucking success, you dingus, you fool, you moron. Your example of an American military conquest that was successful is Iraq? Are you fucking stupid? It's war, bruh. You not getting this shit, bruh. It's war. Iraq was massive success.
Temporary disruption of oil through...
Fucking dumbass literally looked at George W. Bush unfolding the mission accomplished banner and was like, see? Dude. They fucking showed the banner on the carrier, dude. Obviously, look, can you not read the banner? It says mission accomplished. It doesn't say mission failed. Obviously, if they were failing, they would roll the mission failed. We'll get them next time banner.
The Straits of Hormuz. That's what the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is for. So as we have a shortage of market coming through that avenue, we're going to bring oil to market through other avenues to get through a few weeks of a short-term dislocation to get to a much better place on the other side.
You say a few weeks. That's the view from the United States, maybe the president. But as we've seen overnight, Iran has a say in how long this goes on. Israel has a say in how long this goes on as well, with the IEA's announcement of releasing a third of emergency reserves yesterday. Reaction overnight was oil went up over 100. Again, the message being...
Bro's soybean farmer uncle has a gun in his mouth right now, and he's in here talking about American superiority. Yeah, when the gun goes off, he's going to be like, bro, why didn't you believe in the American military superiority? Why'd you kill yourself, Unc? Why'd you kill yourself? The mission was about to be a success, bruh. Fuck. That's crazy.
Then that the only thing that matters is Hormuz. Can the United States declare victory, success, without the Strait of Hormuz being reopened?
No, the Straits of Hormuz needs to be and will be reopened.
I agree that the war as a whole wasn't a success, but the invasion was. Brother, first of all, no one has ever said, well, we won the battle, but we lost the war, and then used that as a fucking resounding success. That's number one. And number two, that's precisely what I was joking about with the mission accomplished banner. And number two, if you think invading Iran is going to play out in the same way that it did with the invasion of Iraq, you are a fucking idiot. Okay? Bro, it was a fucking spectacular success. It's war, gang. That's why we got ISIS now. It's sick.
The U.S. military is there to solve a long-term problem, which is Iran's had 47 years in ability to.
You don't get it, bro. We're up 3 in the first quarter.
Threaten the Straits of Hormuz, and not long from now, Iran would have nuclear arms and a massive missile.
By the way, it doesn't even matter because right now we're not even up 3 in the first quarter. Okay. We're down 50 in the first quarter, okay? Like, that's why it's even funnier where people are like, no, you don't understand, bro. Like, it's different, bro. It's different. It's going to be, we won, gang. We won, gangy.
Program surrounding that. This was a can that could not be kicked down the road one more administration. We need to defang, and we are defanging Iran's abilities to threaten American troops in the areas, its allies, its neighbors, and global energy markets. So yes, you've got to go through short-term pain to solve a long-term problem. This is bold leadership of President Trump. This is what the world needs.
But understanding this going in, the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve was at about half-ish, I'll say, full when the war started. The president had campaigned, Secretary, on refilling the Strategic Reserve right up to the top, his words. Why go to war in the Middle East with a depleted emergency reserve?
Well, number one, as we bring this oil out, it will be exchanges. We'll pull out 170 million barrels and put over 200 million barrels back in at no cost to the taxpayer. Because the price of oil in the short term is higher right now than the price of oil a year down the road.
But that doesn't alleviate the crisis today. You can only put back, the flow rate can only be about 2 million, and that's being optimistic, barrels a day into the global system. So you've got a long time to untwist this problem, no matter what.
And of course, this is in coordination with 30 countries. The real issue right now is Asian refineries. That's where oil coming out of the Gulf goes to. So Japan is releasing at a much higher relative rate to their imports. It's the Asian refineries that we want to keep running and tamp down the price of oil to the extent.
Don't worry, they'll go to China for some of that sweet juice that comes out of the ground, okay? Don't worry. They're good. They're good, buddy. They'll get that sweet Iranian crude, baby. Oh, buddy.
We can through this few weeks crisis. President Trump's thinking long term. He's not thinking about next month. He's thinking about what's best for the American people, what's best for the American economy, and what brings safety to our troops in the region and brings prosperity to the Middle East. That is a troubled.
Yeah. Things are going so good that CENTCOM forced CBS to delete their tweet reporting on a KC-135 Stratotanker going down in western Iraq with a crew of 6. Another KC-135 was hit but landed in Israel safely. That's how you know shit's going so well, dude. That's on purpose, bro. On God. We wanted to do a feint. We wanted to make it seem like our Stratotankers are actually totally bullet hungry, okay? You don't understand. KC-135s do this when they're actually elated, when they're ecstatic. They turn into a fucking missile sponge on purpose, okay? All part of the plan. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, we needed new ones. What's the production runway on that? What's the timeline looking like? Couple years? They'll replace them.
Region that needs to have.
Yeah, PMU affiliated Iraqi channels are saying the KC-135 refueling aircraft was shot down by Iraqi resistance forces. I don't know if they actually were. I don't know if they actually were shot down or not. We have no confirmation yet. Okay. But we shall see. Khatam Al-Anbiya Central Headquarters, an American refueling aircraft was hit by air defense systems in western Iraq, resulting in its crash and the death of all of his crew members. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if that's the case or not. When when the military does an incident report, they will try to hide it though. I suspect. I know it went down. That was confirmed, but they didn't say that it was due to hostile fire. Yeah, this was not due to hostile fire or friendly fire, is what they said. Here's how it's feasible that shit was shot down. Yeah, the KC-135Rs are involved usually. KC-135s involved usually operate at an altitude of 19,000 feet. Not impossible that the Iraqi resistance fighters with a 358 surface-to-air missile could have targeted them. A reachable target if no fighter jets are around, since this aircraft can't deploy flares. You can't just like shoot at it though. Breaking via CBS News, there was another U.S. military medical evacuation flight today. It flew from Saudi Arabia to a U.S. base in Germany with about 19 injured service members on board. Among them were 2 military members injured when a drone exploded next to their vehicle, sources told me. If Iran can destroy the Gulf states, then wasn't the war lost day one? I mean, you got to take that up with the American commanders that leaned into it. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point. Yes, Iran was always capable of shutting down the Strait of Hormuz. Iran was capable, clearly, of destroying all of the American assets in the Gulf states. They were able to do that for years and years. They just simply didn't do so until we backed them into a goddamn corner and assassinated their heads of state that were the ones who were seemingly holding back the Iranian forces' full capabilities. So that was a strategic that was an act of sheer strategic brilliance. Yeah, there was another odd accident that took place on the USS Ford. On March 12th, USS Gerald R. Ford experienced a fire that originated in the ship's main laundry spaces. The cause of the fire was not combat related and is contained. There's no damage to the ship's propulsion plant, and the aircraft carrier remains fully operational. 2 sailors are currently receiving medical treatment for non-life-threatening injuries and are in stable condition. Additional information will be provided when available. So now we are pro destroying the Gulf states? I never said that. I never said that at all. I'm pro peace. No war, just peace. No war, just peace. That's what I believe. Okay? Combat engineer here. They forgot to empty a lint trap. That's so funny. Dude. Dude, $13 billion asset for the American Navy, and the most comical setbacks keep happening inside of it. I'm sorry. It's like Looney Tunes, man. Like first they had the pumps. First they were like, we're shitting too hard. And now we lost to lint. What the fuck is happening? Shit disasters and dryer fires like a fucking slum apartment? Yeah, what the hell? Scahill on a ground invasion says, when you start to believe your own delusions, when you start to imply that every single Iranian is a prisoner to a dictatorship of a mullah, the rhetoric that these guys use at the Pentagon, at the White House on down, and you start to believe it, get high on your own supply, then you start to say, oh, well, if we come in with ground troops and Netanyahu's telling us people are going to rise up, You end up in an utter catastrophe. No, I think the Americans, the American generals are probably a little bit smarter than that. I think they would do a fucking Hitler-style generals mutiny before they would allow that to happen. But I don't know. Maybe they would. Maybe they're dumb enough. Who knows? Because they were dumb enough to allow this to happen. Where the fuck is Raising Cane, dude? Raising Cane was so desperate to get the word out that this was going to be a spectacular failure that he literally leaked it to every single news outlet. Do you guys remember? Do you guys remember? A couple days prior to the American bombing campaigns starting, General Raising Cane literally fucking leaked it to every American news outlet that this was not gonna work. General Dan Raising Cane. But guess what, dude? We got Pete Kegsbreath commanding our forces. Why the fuck do you think he was doing that? They purged most of the generals, though. They're all loyal dogs to Trump. Yes, of course they're loyal dogs to Trump. But even the most loyal dog doesn't want the death of American empire to be his legacy. Okay? What fucking general is looking at the probable outcomes of this and thinking, "Oh, we'll make it"? What general wants to be remembered as the guy who destroyed American empire on their record? That's the reason why General Dan Raising Cane was leaking this information in the buildup. While the buildup was going on, look, I don't know exactly what happened behind closed doors. I can simply speculate by what I'm reading. And what I suspect took place is Trump convened with all of these generals, including Dan Cane, okay, his most competent leader, who has been fairly pliant thus far, even when Trump forces his hand into spectacular defeats like he did with the Ansar Allah movement, right? Twice. So Donald Trump listened to the generals, and the generals were like, "Don't fucking do this. This is a terrible idea. They will close the strait." Okay? They will close the strait, and they will blow up all of our troop positions in the Gulf. And we will look very weak to the rest of the world if you do this. Because we do not have the munitions capabilities to defend all of our assets in the region that are so close to Iranian ballistic missiles. Donald Trump then said, "Fuck off. Netanyahu told me we can do it." Couple days of intense bombing, in and out, regime change. It'll be just like Venezuela. Obviously, that conversation didn't go the way that Dan Cane wanted it to. So he did something that generals only do when they are fearful and they want to wash their hands of what comes next. He went to the fucking media. Every single outlet from Axios to CNN to CBS, where he was literally straight up saying, "We don't have enough defense capabilities to defend Israel or the rest of our assets in the region. This will be a spectacular failure, and it will show China that we are weak." And now we're watching it unfold. I personally didn't think it would be this bad, though. I didn't think it would be this quick. I did not think it'd be this swift. Yes, I know the medical evacuation flight. It's right here. Yeah, there it is. Trump hits out at reports that top U.S. general warned against attacking Iran. Remember? Remember that? Does he know that the CIA definitely has an ace up their sleeve, though? Yeah, I don't know. they'll deploy that ace up their sleeve soon enough. This is going to keep happening, by the way. It's going to keep happening. You're going to see more and more reports like this, more American assets lost. As slowly but surely, Iran chips away at the American confidence by just remaining steadfast and not backing away. The faster we go to the negotiations process and listen to all of the Iranian demands and pull the fuck out of the region, the better things will be. True, my uncle works with the CIA and he told me the CIA has a secret weapon to shoot the country of Iran with a laser and they suddenly are no longer able to eat kubide. They will surrender soon. Trust the Iranian cannot go a week without kubide. No, President Trump, not my kubide.
It's one major problem fixed.
Secretary, the immediate focus is...
Yeah, what I'm shocked by is, as Pete Hegseth told me, no fat generals, no women, no black people. It's all just white people. I thought this was going to be glorious. What the hell's going on? I thought our war fighters were in charge. Why is it not working? Where the fuck are our war fighters? Our white and skinny war fighters.
Very clearly, in some part, and needs in likely becoming more part, getting the Strait of Hormuz open. The Biden administration, when faced with threats to shipping in a different regard, they formed a naval coalition with many countries to help protect shipping in the Red Sea when an Iranian proxy fired at ships. Why aren't you doing the same here when success hinges on reopening the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, we will and are doing the same thing. But right now, all of our military assets are focused on degrading, destroying Iran's ability to threaten its neighbors, to threaten our troops. So we're destroying their ability to produce.
They're like, why would you reopen the strait? And they're like, oh, we're just because we're busy elsewhere. Okay. That's why. It's just because we don't even want to open the strait right now. You know, it's better closed, honestly. It's so much better because, you know, Russia's making more money. Only Chinese tankers are getting through. We love that, personally.
Missiles, to produce a nuclear program, to produce weapons of all kinds, not just their existing weapons, their ability to produce those weapons. You will see the United States working with other nations to allow the return of traffic through the Straits of Hormuz. That's coming. We're less than 2 weeks into this 47-year-long conflict. So
47 years, nothing happens. The one time America literally bombs Iran, Iran starts beating the fucking doors off of every goddamn American asset in the region. Fantastic. You guys really did it, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
But I've heard from many a smart person, though, who worked in previous administrations, though, if it was safe for the U.S. Navy to escort tankers through the Strait of Hormuz, they would be doing so right now.
Uh-oh. CME has warned us. CME has warned that U.S. intervention in oil futures would be a biblical disaster, according to the Financial Times.
all of our military assets right now are focused on destroying Iran's ability to wage war and terrorize the neighborhood. When we can afford some additional assets to move tankers through the Straits of Hormuz, we will do that. That's coming.
More ships were struck in the Strait overnight. The tankers on fire.
IRGCs, the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier sustained severe damage following targeting by missiles and drones. Wait, what? The USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier sustained severe damage following targeting by missiles and drones? That might be an exaggeration. Ain't no fucking way. Ain't no fucking way.
The Port of Oman. Add it all up. Are we in the midst of a severe global oil crisis, Secretary?
Bro's saying this, but we drop more motherfuckers. Dog, you literally have the energy secretary over here being like, oh, we could open the Strait of Hormuz right now if we wanted to. We just choose not to. Like babbling like a fucking idiot. Even the CNN anchor is like, come on, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? And you still, like, they're not making a good enough argument. You're just convincing yourself. It's crazy. Where is this confidence coming from? Like, not a single person in this administration has been able to posture in a way that actually inspires confidence. And there are still dumb fuck livestock in here being like, no, dog. I know that every single administration official is talking like their children have guns pointed directly at their heads. They're just stumbling over their words. They're not even able to get the pliant mainstream media to respond positively to the information that they're throwing out there that immediately contradicts the realities that are unfolding on the ground. But there's something out there. There's this overwhelming belief that I have in some kind of divine intervention that will actually solve the situation, that will actually change the dynamic completely. This is infinitely worse than when mainstream media kept saying the Ukrainian counteroffensive is going to be successful. This is literally far worse than that, okay? It's far worse than that. Most Americans have this viewpoint. I mean, yeah, they'll change their viewpoint quickly enough when they have to pay $25 for fucking Tostino's pizza bagels, okay? $40 for pizza bagels.
Of a significant disruption in the short term to fix the security of energy flow for the long term.
How hard is the pain and how much are people going to have to endure? Gas prices are going up, jet fuel prices are jumping, and CEOs are saying that ticket prices.
Wait a minute. CBS News, an Iranian vessel sailed too close to the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier and the U.S. fired at the vessel. This comes right after the IRGC said that they actually struck the vessel. Oh, wait, no. Wait, what? Navy says aircraft carrier was operating off the coast of Southern California. Fire on board USS Abraham Lincoln injures 9 sailors. Wait, what? No, this is from 2022, man. What the fuck? Southern California, Jesus Christ. You threw me for a fucking loop there. U.S. fired an Iranian vessel that approached the aircraft carrier, officials say. Washington, an Iranian vessel sailed too close to the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, and the U.S. fired at the vessel, according to 2 U.S. officials briefed on the matter who spoke to CBS News under condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to speak publicly. The official said a U.S. Navy vessel attempted to fire on the Iranian vessel using 5-inch 54 caliber Mark 45 gun, a fully automated naval cannon that is mounted on the forward deck of Navy destroyers and the cruisers that have served as fleet's standard deck guns since the early 1970s. While it's not known which naval vessel fired on the Iranian ship, the official said it missed multiple times.
Bruh. 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 Bruh.
You missed? It's so much worse than I could have imagined. It feels like it's we must make the military woke again. Bro! It turns out the unwoke military is not doing great, okay? How are they firing on Iranian ships a few days ago? They said they destroyed their navy. Those Iranian shipbuilders must be wizards. They're producing fleets faster than China makes shitty electronics. Yeah, because they lied. They didn't fucking destroy the Iranian navy. Vietnam, we actually lost those planes to Soviet SAMs and not Vietnamese pilots. Operation Pederast resolved. Who knows why anything truly happens? Is a plane ever truly lost? Matter cannot be created or destroyed. It's possible we'll see it again in some form. Oh, it's so embarrassing, brother. It is. It's just like this is so much worse than they gonna find out why we don't have healthcare, because like no one is even finding out anything. The only thing we're finding out is that we don't have healthcare, and it turns out we don't even have decent, competent military might either. We don't even have the force projection capabilities. So why the fuck don't we have healthcare? Just give me the fucking healthcare. Enough with this shit. Cut it out.
Are also going to go up. Iran just said that the world should be ready for oil at $200 a barrel. You don't agree with Iran on anything, but do you agree that people need to be prepared for that?
We're going through short-term energy disruption for just huge long-term gain. You're seeing Iran's behavior.
Could
They're
that
attacking
hit? Could
every
short-term
country in the
mean
region.
$200 a barrel?
I would say unlikely, but we are focused on the military operation and solving a problem. I'm not going to guess on short-term trading. That's based on psychology more than flows of oil. The world is very well supplied with oil right now. Thanks to President Trump's leadership, we're by far and away the world's largest oil producer, by far and away the world's natural gas producer. Both of those are growing. We've been moving into an age of energy security.
Oh my gosh, shut the fuck up.
These are some of the latest images to emerge from the Strait of Hormuz. But it's far from the first time that a tanker has been the target of an attack here. Bullets and bombs have had repercussions on...
Dude, hearing Asmongold pretend to know the last few decades of U.S.-Iranian interactions is legit fucking hilarious. It's like a slow child. Dude, it's even more hilarious that there is like a decent number of people that would rather listen to someone who is genuinely low IQ, but is barely competent and barely capable of like explaining these events from the perspective of an administration that is failing at every step. Okay, failing in such spectacular ways that it's like virtually impossible not to recognize that America is literally destroying everything right now, destroying all of their force projection capabilities, destroying what remained in the confidence that all of these other like regional allies had. It's so funny. Is there a clip that demonstrates his brilliance? Yeah, chat. We gotta keep blowing these freaks up. I mean, they're Islamic pedophiles, chat. Our weapons are so powerful, chat. No, the Strato tanker, I don't even know what that is, but refueling planes always crash. Based. It's actually based that a $60 billion asset was taken out by an Iraqi resistance figure with possible surface-to-air missiles, chat. It's cool. Trust the plan. Based. Yeah. Roadside bombs. That's what my goat told me. Asman is based as FAC. New pet do not ban. Yeah. Based. Hasan is crashing out. Let me get a sip of my diet. Or not diet. He doesn't drink diet. Let me get a sip of my Dr. Pepper and talk to you guys about how fucking cool it is that we're going to war for Israel and basically destroying all of our assets in the region. Yeah.
On the other side of the globe.
We're in the Strait of Hormuz. It's 40 kilometers long and it's the entrance to the Persian Gulf.
In 1979, at the start of the Iran-Iraq war, all eyes are on the strait, as the army of the newly founded Islamic Republic of Iran sparks worries worldwide.
The threat of a new oil war is back.
as Iraq's Saddam Hussein launches an attack on Iran, marking the start of an 8-year war. Tankers make it through slowly, one by one.
Everyone is fearing a total closure of the strait. It would wreak havoc to industrialized countries. Over half of the world's oil passes through here.
And ships from across the world are at risk.
A dozen tankers were attacked today.
The Strait of Hormuz is divided between Iran and Oman, with only 33 kilometers separating the two at the narrowest passage point. There are 2 shipping lanes with a width of 3.7 kilometers, and waters are at most 60 meters deep.
You could easily be ambushed, just like in Western films. It's like a procession for ships faced with threats from Iran.
In 1987, with the conflict still going on and Lebanon having plunged into civil war, the United States step in and France sends its largest aircraft carrier to the region.
We are here to protect our interests.
To prevent a blockade, oil-producing neighbours such as Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates have sought other solutions to transport oil.
Today there are land alternatives. Pipelines run from the east to the west of Saudi Arabia and from the United Arab Emirates. But the capacity of these pipes isn't the same as the sea routes.
Over the past 40 years, the Strait of Hormuz has never entirely closed. A fifth of the world's oil and a quarter of the gas supply transit